Welcome to the Best 5-Minute Wine Podcast with Forrest Kelly.
Owner and winemaker Jennie Murphy of Oxlee Graham Wines.
And I had never made a wine that color before, so I was a little panicked. But the resulting wine is
Best 5-Minute Wine Podcast.
You know, part of being a business owner, and you've got to pump up your chest and you've got to tell everybody, you know, it may not be your personality, but you got to get out there. You didn't make that jump from working at Paul Hobbs to saying, you know, because based on the cork, I want the specific cork and I want the specific barrels. You made partly the jump was because of challenges and competitions and judgments and things. Your wine and what you were putting out there was getting some awards, right?
Yeah, at Paul Hobbs, I got to work with some amazing fruit. He had some great estate vineyards and also worked with Dextoffer fruit, which is highly regarded in Napa. And so I was making 100-point wines for Paul. And there's multiple 100-point wines that we made as a team there. And really, you know, we were getting great scores. And I just felt like it was time to kind of, you know, put those skills to good use and try something completely new for myself.
Now, let's put that in reference, 100-point wine. You know, I know the point spectrum. So for those that don't know what a 100-point is, you just make a wine and you put a cork in it and bottle it, put a great fancy label on it, and you can get a 75, right? Or put it in perspective for us.
When you look at the score ratings, there's all different classifications. And I think anything above a 95 is called a classic wine. There's a lot of wines in the 70 to 80 range. Anything above 90 is pretty darn good. And 100 is considered perfect. So that is kind of the scale. So most of our wines were the 90 to 97 range, and then we had a few in the 100. So that was kind of a good, pat on the back for myself and my team as well.
So that tells you that, hey, I can hang with the big boys.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, it always feels good. I say I don't care about scores, but it always feels good to get that 100-pointer, you know.
Can you put it into words what your goal is for the wine? And how would you describe the wines that you produce? And also, what do people love about your wine?
My wines for the Oxlee Graham label really want to produce wines that are elegant, fresh, delicate, and they're lower in alcohol. So they're really kind of fruit forward, but really unique wines. My tagline is sort of, I want to make unique wines that tell authentic stories. So for me, I made a Pinot Noir in 2022 that was really light in color, almost like rosé. And I had never made a wine that color before, so I was a little panicked. But the resulting wine is this beautiful, complex, savory, complete wine. So when I put it in front of people, it kind of surprises them, which I like. I like kind of to shock people a little bit. And that's sort of my passion with Pinot, is that I feel like it can be so complex and so different depending on where it's from. So my Pinot Noirs are kind of from all over the Northern California area, from Mendocino all the way to the Santa Cruz Mountains. And each wine really has its own identity, its own personality. I think of the wines like people, so I talk about them with their own kind of quirks and personalities. But that's what I find so fascinating about winemaking. And I think when I kind of put my lineup in front of people, they're really pleasantly surprised with how different each wine is. So I'm not the winemaker that kind of has everything lined up and they all taste identical. They all have their own identities. And then I really delve into kind of varietals that maybe some people haven't heard of or haven't had a lot of experience with. So I make a white blend that's Chenin Blanc and Pic Pool Blanc, Petit Verdot, bottled by itself. I'm making an Albarino in 24. So kind of a little bit different. I like unique and I like different.
From Sauvignon to Merlot, we look for adventure at wineries around the globe.